Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Okay, so we will, you have your Gita, Bhagavad Gita, right?
Yeah.
We will go to verse 29. So we were doing several different yagnas, and yagnas, the highest one was when you see Brahman everywhere, and then it's not that easy to do that one. And
Is this 29?
Yeah, Apane Jubat. So last time, I think you were not there, but I don't know if you heard our...
No, I didn't get time.
So basically, we talked about other two yagnas, not other, they were in that last verse, there was quite power-packed. There were
Yoga
yagna of the wealth, austerity, yoga, and sacrifice, and self-restraint, and study of scripture, and the gnana yagna and all that. So then it just opened it up. But since you do have this, whenever you get a chance, maybe bedtime reading you can make it.
Yeah.
Read that one verse, and because Swami's explanation, now you're getting used to it, how he writes.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting the way he opened everything up.
Yeah.
And now the next one is talking about pranayam. There's some people who use pranayam as yagna. So you want to do lead follow style to chant? Should I say and then you can say?
Yeah.
Apane juvhati pranam.
Apane juvhati pranam.
Prane panam tatha pare.
Prane panam tatha pare.
Prana panagati rudva.
Prana panagati rudva.
Pranayama parayanaha.
Pranayama parayanaha.
Do you want to read the English translation? And then we can discuss.
Others offers as sacrifice the outgoing breath in the incoming and the incoming in the outgoing, restraining the courses of the outgoing and incoming breaths, solely absorbed in the restraint of breath.
So now we all have done pranayam, right? I do those 3 every morning, and
Right.
so that's what he's talking about. Some people use pranayam as yagna, meaning what they're trying to do is, through pranayam, they are trying to control their senses. And we know that if we do, and then he opened it up, and Manju is not here today, but she would know this so well, that the outgoing breath into the ingoing, and then so he told, and then so Swamiji said it's called Purak and Rechak and Kumbhak. You've heard of these terms, right? Kumbhak is when you hold the breath for a little bit in between.
Yeah. Right.
So when you do this kind of pranayam in under the right guru and all that, you can actually progress to the point where you can control many of the kriyas that are happening inside the body. We know that, right? So that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So, and then he also says that pranayam it's called pranas, but we cannot look at pranas just as breath, because he calls it various manifested activities of life in a living body.
Right.
And then he opens up with the 5 different aspects of pranas. Prana, Pan, Yan, Udan, Saman. And he calls them physiological functions. They are the function of perception, function of excretion, the function of digestion and assimilation, the circulatory system,
Circulatory.
distributing the
Vyana.
food to all parts of the body, and the capacity in the living creature to improve himself in the mental outlook and intellectual life. All that is connected and can be, have a mastery over through pranayama. That's what he's saying. And some people do that. So, what is their purpose? That a seeker can, by this path, come to gain a complete capacity to withdraw all his perceptions. That is indeed a great help in a meditator.
Right.
So we should know the purpose they are doing. Because what has happened to you? Oh, I'm doing pranayama, but they don't even know the highest goal sometimes. So it is so good to know. Health is a side benefit.
Right.
So when in this context he's saying about pranayama, his ultimate goal is I should have control over my senses. So when I'm sitting for meditation, all these weird things are not happening in my body, which is going to distract me. Does that make sense? That is the purpose for pranayama. It's a very higher purpose.
Uska reason, that's why they tell you, okay, do in morning when you're not eaten anything, so you don't have gas.
So when you do that, you concentrate only on your breath.
Yeah.
No,
The intake
not
of
necessarily.
Not necessarily.
But breath is a very important part. But what he's trying to explain here is that there is this breath is going in and out. But breath is it's like a link between our life and how our system works inside. So you have seen that when we are angry or upset, our breath changes completely, the way we go. That's why in the West also they say, take a deep breath, do the breathing, calms your mind down. If you're getting very angry, go to the other room and take 5 deep breaths. So
Also, every 90 minutes, your breath changes, whether it goes in left nostril or right nostril. So for ideal pranayama condition, the both nose should be open.
But it's always open, isn't it?
No, not.
I think what you're
Right
trying to
is
say is
open.
that automatically the body...
Every 90 minutes it changes, so
Maybe
in between,
we
yeah.
don't even realize it.
We don't realize it, but
Yeah.
if you do, people who do pranayama, they know. And when you do that, क्या बोलते हैं उसको?
Anulom Vilom.
Anulom Vilom, what you're trying to do temporarily, you're trying to balance your mind,
Right.
because one is, they call the Chandra side, one is Surya side, one is heat, one is cool. There's a lot of science behind it, and
Right.
and I think Manju will know a lot more because she's
I
systematically
have a little
studied
book,
it.
if you want to
Yeah.
read, I can
Yeah.
bring next
But
time.
for our purpose over here, so that we don't go too much in detail right now because we have to cover other things, what he's trying to say is this is one way to get mastery over your senses. Because remember, senses are the problem.
But
So-
one minor detail, that when your left nose is open, left is closed,
Yeah.
then you press here and it will open. So
And
that's
same-
why
same for the right-
sadhus use a kamandalu. They put it here. That is why they use it.
What is it?
Kamandalu is a little
Kamandalu,
pot.
it's a little
Pot.
little
Pot.
stick. No, stick.
Oh, Kamandalu is this. What you are thinking is dand.
Dund.
Dund.
So they put it here. So whichever nose is closed, they put on the other
Opposite.
side. So that's how then they do the thing.
Okay.
This is real because
This is science. Basically, there's a science.
I received that in the ocean when I used to meditate. It came through the waves.
Wow.
And I had that, I used to use that
Unbelievable.
because I read
Through the
about
wave.
it.
The stick came through the waves.
So, also my stick came, So Shiv was helping me.
The whole universe was helping you.
No, I know, but Shiv especially.
Yes, amazing.
Because he is the one giving assignments. Krishna doesn't want any assignment. He said, enjoy. He
So-
said, you do on your own. Don't listen. I mean, I can tell you, but you're on your own. He doesn't direct you.
I know, but basically, the reason people have gurus or somebody tell you what to do, because it's coming from him only.
Yeah.
He sends you the channel. Like our teacher used to say, we are hands and legs of Bhagwan.
Right.
So he can choose anybody to give a message to anybody.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how we have to look at it. Everything is
Right.
coming from him only. So this is what he talks
We
about.
are all one, but sometimes even we get messages which we ignore.
Yes, we do, and that's
Other
why.
people have to tell us.
So we need to have. That's why they say you have to have a purified mind, because when we have purified mind, we get the message, we understand it, and all that. Otherwise, it's coming from in your front of you, and you just ignore
Or
it.
you feel it. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't know. You start feeling. So
Yeah.
that's.
Okay, then
So
the
this is a
30.
pranas. Everybody understood that basically the message is you can use pranayam to control your senses.
But he talks in Gita about you concentrate on your this third eye and then do the breathing. Everything is part of Raj Yoga.
That will come in chapter 8 and 9.
Right? Later.
See, everything is connected in
Right.
Even
Bhagavad Gita.
animals and like lizards and all, they have the third eye when they are born, but then it gets covered up.
Right.
Yeah, third eye is where all the
Everybody has
energies. It's an energy center and it's the most important
Everybody
one.
has
And
it.
through that you have a connection to the higher. That's what they believe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much science, so we have to slowly.
Seventh chakra. That's the sixth chakra. Is third eye. Ajna chakra. She'll cover that.
Yeah, and then when he talked in chapter 6 about how to sit and meditate,
Right.
so then he says this is where you have to, and basically the other, what should I say, meaning that Swamiji came up with was that when you say that concentrate here, it's like bringing your attention from everywhere,
Right.
shutting yourself and bringing it. That's another.
And I know that's why my eyes started dropping
Yeah.
because of that. Because I was
Exactly.
thinking
So
there,
for you,
and I just closed the eyes and thought that way, and then all of a sudden I couldn't open.
because for you, because of your previous sadhana and your
Right.
previous connection, it happens very easily and
Yeah.
automatically.
Right.
For us, we take so long to do it, but for you it came, and
Yeah.
your Guru Kripa is there.
Right.
Okay, so now should we go to the next one?
30th, yeah.
Apare niyataharaha
Apare niyataharaha
pranan praneshu jubhati pranan praneshu jubhati sarve pyete yagnavido sarve pyete yagnavido yagnakshapita kalmashaha yagnakshapita kalmashaha. Okay, you want to read the meaning?
Others with well-regulated diet offer vital airs in the vital air. All these are knowers of sacrifice whose sins are destroyed by sacrifice.
So here he's trying to tell you that there are some people who use well-regulated diet
Right.
to get complete mastery over themselves and their passions and appetite. And we know the diet thing is so prevalent in India. ये खाओ तो ये नहीं खाओ, ये व्रत करो तो वो नहीं खाओ. And the Jains, they do this so much strict, just nimbu pani mein they live for 40 days. You've heard of that, right?
Yeah.
And all that. So what is the purpose behind it? To get mastery over ourselves. And then even Muslims do it.
Oh yeah,
Roza. And
They only eat once a day. That's not a big thing that they do.
Still, but if you try once a day, to beginners, even that one is
it's a
difficult.
big
You
thing.
try that.
I cannot live without.
Yeah,
this.
you say, okay, no breakfast, no lunch. I mean, I used to never do Karwa Chauth and all because I'm from Mumbai and I was the youngest child and never did it. And then I never did it for a long time because nobody was there to tell me, right? And I came into a group of people who were doing it. So then, and they started inviting me, and I said, okay, I'll have to. So I got pressured almost. Sabhi vrat karke aa rahe hain, main nahi aaungi, so it looks so silly, right?
It's so hard.
They used to literally put me with the men. Okay, if you're not done vrat, so then I started doing the vrat, and it is hard when you've never done it.
Yeah.
It's like don't eat anything until like 4 or 5 in the morning. I mean, once I started doing it, they were drinking
Nina does that, and now she doesn't even take tea or water or something, and it's really bad.
Yeah.
After a while,
And
your
that
health-
night, moon always comes late. That is to test
Yes.
you.
9, 10. Otherwise, I can see moon in daytime also. I see moon
Right,
sometime
right.
here. But वो दिन तो जरूर late ही आएगा.
You withdraw the moon and see that, and then
Right.
Well, I mean,
And also this cloudy, so we have
we
to
should
search
know.
for it.
that the whole idea is not कि husband को long life मिल जाए, ये है वो है, अच्छी भावना है, वो सब ठीक है. Basically, it's to train yourself, to have control over your senses,
Yeah, right.
so that you don't fall apart for little
Right.
things.
Yeah.
You have a little fortitude, you have a little resilience in you.
yeah.
That's all it's all about. So, but they are saying that, I was listening to one lecture and they said that, I think it was Chandogya Upanishad or something, where they have opened it up, what happens to when you drink water, what happens when you eat food and shwas, how it divides in the body, meaning further क्या बोलना चाहिए, जो scientists लोग क्या बोलेंगे, it goes into the body and then it breaks down into different things, right? They have their own way of explaining the Shastras. So it was saying that the absolutely gross part of the food will come out as excretion, you throw it out of your body. The other parts, then उससे क्या क्या बनता है? Nutrients. And then उसका जो एकदम subtle part होता है ना food का, उससे mind बनता है, which we never think about. Because we have learned in the Shastras that mind is also matter. It's a Sukshma Sharir बोलते हैं उसको. Means it is Sharir only. It is not the Chetan. It does get dynamized by the Chetan, so we can think and we can perceive and all that. But as such, it is a antakaran bolte hai usko. Bahya karan, and karan means equipment. So bahya karan is our body and antakaran is that, and it is made by the food. That's why there is so much importance given to food. And now, being in California, we have seen that how much importance they give it to food. That should be organic and plant-based and vegan and God knows. It's all coming from the same, because it does affect our mind and body. And when I went to this thing, Los Angeles with my husband, he was invited to give a talk, and there were 1,000 people, and they were all there because of plant-based medicine. So what they did was, they did it more like a big show and tell, and they brought celebrities and they were talking. There's one athlete that came, he's considered like one of the top 5 athletes in the world, because he's endurance, not just a sport, but it's called endurance athlete. जो वो लोग कुछ, they go and swim in the ocean and they run 26 miles, 100 miles they run, something crazy, okay? He told his story to mind-boggling. He said that he was born in the family of athletes, and so he, that was part of his nature, right? But because at around when he was a teenager or maybe young adult, he started having health problems. And he started feeling like a drag his life, like he started mentally foggy, and he just didn't have energy, and he felt really upset and depressed, and all of a sudden he got some inspiration. Something came from inside, like sometimes you get, and the inspiration was, I want to try plant-based diet. So he said, because he was born in this culture and he was used to eating all this other stuff, so, but because he was born in that athlete's family, he had the little bit in it, the determination factor was there in it. So he said it was so hard, he stuck with it for a whole week, and at the end of that week, all of a sudden he started feeling so great. Mentally he started feeling, he calls it a spiritual experience he had. He started feeling mentally great, he started feeling energy, and he said he started running, and he couldn't stop after 26 miles. He went on the stage and he talked about all this. And then he challenged himself, and he and another Mexican guy who was his partner, they did certain regimen, कि हम हवाई में जाएंगे, वो 5 island में swim करेंगे, ये करेंगे. That's how it became like. And he's saying, my goal was not to become the top athlete. I was just kept going whatever was coming from inside. And he says that everything happened because of plant-based diet. You and me may not believe it, that's his story. But here what Krishna Bhagavan is saying, that a lot of people do use the diet to control all their senses and come up very high. And then he also talks about all the Ayurvedic thing in there. If you read later on, you can read that. That in Ayurveda, they actually tell you कौन से season में क्या खाना चाहिए, वगैरह वगैरह, सुबह क्या खाना चाहिए, शाम को क्या खाना चाहिए, season में क्या खाना चाहिए, all that. And then personally, like on chapter 17, he talks about the food in detail, about what is tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic food. So it's like people who have a tamasic temperament will gravitate towards certain kind of food. The people who are rajasic will gravitate towards certain kind of food. They will like mirchi and all that. And sattvic food is, he gave the definition of sattvic food. And, it has to be soft and snigd and fresh and all that, agreeable to the body, and also that is sattvic. So you could a little bit control your temperament with the food.
Very difficult in this country, especially. And you have to do everything yourself.
But that's what I'm saying, that this fellow who gave
Yeah,
this
yeah.
example, he doesn't even belong to that culture, and he
Yeah.
did. So people who want to do it can do it. It's hard, but you see,
You do
in
it?
California,
You do it?
I only do a partial. I don't do too much. I mean, we are vegetarians anyway, so it becomes easy for me.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah, it's easy for me because if you're brought up as a meat eater, it's very lot harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's a lot easier if I have to control something, you know. So anyway, so he talks about that, the food, and then the last part is extremely important. He says, like this second part of this verse says, all these are knowers of sacrifice, whose sins are destroyed by sacrifice. So now when he says knower of sacrifice, means that they understand how to do these yagnas in the correct manner. Because when you do yagnas in the wrong manner for the wrong purpose, you don't get the results. So they're like, sometime our teacher used to say, people say, oh, I've been doing so much, meditating for so many years, nothing is happening, blah, blah, blah. Somewhere the sadhana is not going correctly. So you have to understand it correctly, do it correctly. That part is there. And then he talks about that by doing these sadhanas, you're not going to get God. You're not going to get self-realized.
Right.
All that is going to happen is your sins are going to get destroyed. So this is what he has to, I think this is the important part for us. So he's saying, thus it must be carefully noted that all practices, physical, mental, or intellectual, they are generally known as divine and religious, are without exception only techniques by which the mind and intellect equipment gets adjusted for greater and more effective self-application in meditation. So these paths will make your mind pure so that you can meditate. And what do we do in meditation? Meditation is a path in which the ego learns to withdraw its false evaluation of itself, in particular, and of life in general, and come to the final experience of its own divine nature. So in meditation, you're dropping your ego and you're realizing your nature. So he's saying we often find sincere seekers getting so extremely attached to their own path of practice that they constantly argue about it among themselves.
Right, that's true.
You know, my path is better than yours, my practice is better. वो योगा वाला योगा का ही करता जाएगा और वो डाइट वाला डाइट के ही गुण गाता जाएगा. But we should know behind it what it is. So he's saying, therefore, Arjun has been instructed here that all paths, however noble and great they may be, are all but means and not an end in themselves. So that is a take home from this whole thing. All the yagnas you are doing to purify your mind so that we can connect to the higher. Unless you connect to the higher and drop your ego, we are not going to be self-realized. So I thought that message was so important, right?